Local, live, late breaking. WESH 2 News Sunrise starts now.
Now at 5 o'clock, Hurricane Milton is closing in on Florida, bringing the threat of fierce wind and torrential rain.
Officials are sounding the alarm, warning everyone to take action and take advantage of the time you have to prepare.
It's not a game. We've gone through this numerous times, and the complacency is not now.
From stocking up on supplies to making sure your home is secure, we've got you covered. And good morning. Thank you for starting it with the WESH 2 News Sunrise team. I'm Jason Guy.
And I'm Meredith McDonough. Lots to get to this morning. Our first warning meteorologists are joining us now. Meteorologist Kellyanne Klass and Eric Burris here. Guys, we've already had a lot of rainfall that we've been seeing all across Central Florida.
Yeah, that's going to continue today with a steady stream of rain, and then we'll somewhat get a brief break tomorrow before Milton really starts to impact us.
But the problem is, with all of this water, the soil is kind of super soaked, right? Yeah. So you put in some hurricane condition winds, you're talking about some major trees failing, unfortunately.
Yeah, so let's just get right to the 5 a.m. advisory. That is out with a new track, and the latest is now a Category 2 hurricane with winds of 100 miles per hour, moving to the east-southeast at around 8 miles per hour. Now, here's the track from the National Hurricane Center. That rapid intensification is still going to happen today. By this afternoon, it'll be a Category 3 hurricane. Later on tomorrow morning, a Category 4 hurricane. From there, strengthening by Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday early morning. Winds of 145 miles per hour, a Category 4 hurricane. Now, as we get a little bit closer to landfall on Wednesday, it's going to encounter some wind shear. So the National Hurricane Center thinks it's going to weaken to a Category 3, but the impacts are still going to be the same. We're still looking at Category 4 impacts, especially with the storm surge for the west coast of Florida. So the latest tropical advisories are now beginning to roll out to parts of Florida, where we have a hurricane watch in effect just west of Orlando, including parts of Sumter County, all the way down to Polk County, and of course the Tampa Bay area. Tropical storm watches in effect for parts of the Big Bend area and down in southwest Florida. Nothing here for our inland counties at the moment, but that will change as we go throughout the day today. And some of those latest models favoring Orlando and areas north as a potential kind of cut through. So something to watch. What you need to know right now is that you need to finish your preps today. Tuesday, tomorrow, last minute preps, get them done, because by Wednesday afternoon and evening, the storm will arrive, giving us higher impacts. And Eric, one of those impacts will be the potential for some power outages.
And that's always what gets just so difficult, kind of adding insult to injury, right? So based on the current modeling, based on the current forecasting, we're thinking that much of the West Coast will have widespread power outages, and more than likely that'll start to sneak into Sumter, Lake, even Polk counties. But for the rest of Central Florida, power outages are likely, again, because of all of the trees that could have limbs fail, etc., and just the idea of how much wind we're discussing. But looking at the trajectories now, we're looking at a storm surge, at least modeling. We're not getting into forecasting just yet, probably will in the next hour, but modeling is showing storm surge 9 feet or greater here into the Everglades, and some of that includes the Captiva, Pine, Sanibel Island areas here around Charlotte Harbor. But even into Tampa Bay, a storm surge of 9 feet cannot be ruled out. The exact kind of angle of impact is going to really play in. Further to the north, into the Nature Coast, we're looking at a 6 to 9 foot storm surge in spots, and then tapering the further north we go. So it's all going to be about actual impact zones. Based on the current thinking and forecasting, for Sumter County, max gusts, we're looking at about 80 miles an hour there. For Osceola County, including the tourist district, max gusts are into hurricane force, and even here into Brevard County, we're looking at max wind gusts of about 75 or so miles an hour. This morning, Brevard County, nice and quiet. There's a live look at the port. It's going to be a cloudy and damp day, just like yesterday. On again and off again, but the big hurricane conditions are still several days away. Meteorologist Kellyanne Klass and I are going to go review the very latest from the Hurricane Center, just coming out moments ago. We'll have a full wrap-up in just a few moments.
All right, Eric, let's get to your first warning traffic. We have a couple things to tell you about. You're looking live to I-95. We had an earlier crash in Volusia County, right at mile marker 236. All lanes have been blocked, but you can see just in the last few moments, we have those lanes back open. Cars are moving through that area on I-95 there in Volusia County. Good news for that commute. In Orange County, right there on I-4 westbound, which is the side you're seeing cars traveling toward the camera. Those headlights, that's the westbound side. Right at Maitland Boulevard, 414 westbound, you're not able to get onto I-4 right in that area, so just use caution if that's part of your commute. Now to the travel times elsewhere. I-4 is looking good westbound in most spots. Once you get past that trouble there on Maitland Boulevard trying to get onto I-4 westbound. Right now, 51 counties are under a state of emergency, including all of Central Florida's counties. And we still have a couple of days before this storm hits. To all of us, get ready.
Yeah, WESH 2's Bob Hazen is live at the Walmart neighborhood market on Lee Road. Bob, a lot of stores have been busy with people trying to get supplies.
Yeah, and we do know that today, of course, a lot of folks will be going out to places like Walmart and to Target and Publix to get those supplies. This is the day you should be making your final preparations for the storm. And we can help you out a lot with what we have on the WESH 2 News app. Now, on the app, you can find a lot of things to help you out. That includes, of course, the latest information about where the storm is going and the impacts to where you live, also where to get sandbags. But also, we have a link there for what should be in a hurricane kit. And that has a list of the things you should make sure you have on hand. They include the most important things like bottled water, canned food and soup, a can opener, a first aid kit, 2 weeks worth of your prescriptions, formula and diapers if you have a baby, flashlights and batteries, and a weather radio. On that WESH 2 News app, we also have this year's Hurricane Survival Guide that has more ideas for what you should have on hand. Also, our experts say you should plan to, or at least have enough stuff in your house to be ready for a week without power at your house and without access to any stores. And also, if you can't find bottled water at the stores, if they've been cleared out already, you can just fill up old bottles or jugs that you've cleaned out. Reporting live in Orange County, Bob Hazen, WESH 2 News.
Marion County commissioners have declared a local state of emergency because of Hurricane Milton. Now, the county encourages everyone who lives there to be prepared by signing up for Alert Marion, which gives people emergency notifications by phone, email, or text message. We are also told the county will be opening 3 shelters. They're listed right there on your screen at Westport High, Vanguard High, and also Fort McCoy School. And now to Volusia County, which could get hit with lots of wind and rain.
County leaders are working to determine where to deploy resources ahead of Hurricane Milton. So teams are still out helping victims from Hurricane Helene recover. Many people who spoke with us in the area tell us they aren't taking any chances.
Lived in Florida my whole life. Deltona's a little flood prone, so just trying to be prepared. My daughter's house 2 years ago became an island.
Honestly, I moved here last Tuesday. So I'm getting a process of getting out of the military, and so we just moved here, and this is our first real storm, so we don't know how the house is going to react yet.
The mayor says crews have been out securing pumps, checking to make sure ditches are clear, and lowering lake levels there in Deltona. Volusia County Emergency Operations is activating their emergency center there, and they're ready to respond. Right now, almost every county in our area is offering multiple locations so you can get sandbags. Be sure to bring a shovel. Some locations also might require you to bring your own bags. We have a full list of locations scrolling at the bottom of your screen, along with all the information right now on our website, WESH.com.
And of course, school districts across our area are monitoring Hurricane Milton.
Today, Volusia County schools will cancel after-school activities except for extended daycare. Osceola County schools will be closed on Wednesday, and Marion and Brevard County schools shut down for Wednesday and Thursday. Orange and Lake County tell us they will announce a decision about cancellations today. Seminole, Flagler, and Sumter schools are monitoring the situation closely. As for local colleges, UCF is suspending classes online and in person tomorrow, Tuesday through Thursday. Valencia College will also be closed those same days. Stetson University is canceling classes tomorrow and Wednesday ahead of fall break on Thursday. Rollins College is canceling classes all week, and campus will be evacuated as of tomorrow night.
This is the second major hurricane to hit the state in less than 2 weeks. Officials say the state is starting what could be its largest evacuation effort since 2017. Officials are issuing both mandatory and voluntary evacuation orders for at-risk areas, especially along Florida's coastline. In some areas, the ground is already saturated from Hurricane Helene, and cleanup from that storm continues.
Florida Power and Light crews are also working to keep the lights on during the storm. Teams spread out all around our state to get ready for potential outages. FPL leaders say they will do what they can to get the power back on during an outage, but those repairs could take time. And because of the severe impacts expected in the Tampa Bay area, it's something that we're going to monitor.
Yeah, and crews are already on their way to that area preparing for any possible rescue missions.
We've already sent multiple high water rescue vehicles to Hillsborough and Pinellas County, where current models have the eye of the storm making landfall. Also in Hillsborough, we've deployed nearly 400 feet of flood protection systems for a fire station so that operations are not interrupted due to storm conditions. We're currently coordinating another 1,800 feet of flood protection systems for wastewater facilities, pump stations, and a hospital in both Hillsborough and Manatee counties.
The governor also noted that state support of debris removal is happening around the clock.
All right, at 5:09, let's get to the very latest information that's coming in here with our 5 a.m. update. So just moments ago, we got brand new data.
Yeah, and Kellyanne, you're going over the advisories for everyone.
Yeah, and it encompasses a good chunk of the Gulf portion of Florida. We do have a couple of tropical storm watches from the Big Bend area down to southwest Florida. But let's say from Levy County all the way down to about Fort Myers, we have a hurricane watch. And that hurricane watch includes Sumter County and in Polk County. Nothing yet from Orlando, Marion County, Orange County, and East. But that will likely roll out throughout the day today. This system at the moment is a Category 2 hurricane, winds of 100 miles per hour, and it is going to go undergo that rapid intensification process throughout the day today, and will become a Category 4 hurricane before weakening to a Cat 3 on landfall. But the impacts are still going to be the same, whether it's a Cat 3 or a Cat 4. We are looking at storm surge as the highest threat for the Florida Gulf Coast. Here locally, it's going to be the wind that'll move throughout the day on Wednesday. So when does the worst of the weather arrive? Well, for the Tampa area, it's going to be Wednesday afternoon. For Orlando and in fact much of Central Florida, it's going to be Wednesday early in the evening and then later on in the evening for areas north and east of Orlando. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll have your hour-by-hour forecast. We'll talk to you all about the latest. We'll also have a look at the potential storm surge that the Florida Gulf Coast could see.
All right, Kellyanne. Our WESH 2 News team is here. We're working around the clock for you ahead of the storm's landfall.
It is time to act now and get prepared. Any last-minute things you need? Next on Sunrise, we will take a look at how other parts of the state are getting ready after trying to recover from Hurricane Helene.
Hurricane season is here, and we are ready. I've been doing this for almost 20 years in Central Florida, and the best advice I can give you, be prepared. At WESH 2, our first warning weather team works to make sure you have the most accurate information so that you can make informed decisions to keep you and your family safe. It's part of our process. Paired with experience and the latest technology, we are all here for you.
This hurricane season, trust WESH 2 First Warning Weather.
We are closely watching Hurricane Milton. As of the 5 a.m. advisory, what is now showing us that this is a potential Category 2 hurricane. We will be checking back in with our team of meteorologists in just a few moments.
In Orange County, jury selection is scheduled to begin today in the trial of Sarah Boone.
She's accused of leaving her boyfriend to die in a suitcase. At her final court hearing before the trial last week, Boone talked about her mental state when deputies arrived at the scene in 2020. She claims that she was confused and shocked. Boone has pleaded not guilty to murder. Today is your last day to register to vote for November's general election. Voters already registered can change their address up to Election Day. The November 5th ballot includes races for president and U.S. Senate, along with several congressional and legislative contests. There are also 6 proposed constitutional amendments, along with several city, county, and judicial races on the ballot.
The Pulse Memorial Advisory Committee is scheduled to hold 2 meetings this week at City Hall. The first is today, with the group continuing its discussion, trying to agree on a design for a memorial to honor the 49 lives taken during the Pulse nightclub shooting. The other one will be tomorrow from 4 to 8 in the evening, and everyone is invited to attend. We're going to let you know if either of these meetings have time shifted or get canceled because of this hurricane.
In the wake of Hurricane Helene, people along the Gulf Coast are preparing for Hurricane Milton. In Punta Gorda, Mary Smith and her family are still cleaning up from the damage from Helene. They are concerned that they could lose even more of their belongings.
We have everything put up and out of the water. We hope that it don't get in, you know. But if it does, it does.
A few houses down the street from her, another neighbor says that he's preparing for the worst.
We have a lot of stuff we're going to be putting under tarps. We have a remediation team working on the house. The house has never flooded in our 60 years of owning this.
Now, people in Charlotte County are taking advantage of the 3 sandbag stations open in their location.
All right, 5:16, and we're bringing in our team of meteorologists. We have Kellyanne Klass and Eric Burris monitoring the very latest on this hurricane. Just in the last few minutes, we've seen this thing intensify into Category 2 status.
Yeah, and it's forecast too, right?
Yeah,
so we
right.
know that it's going to rapidly intensify, but to see it actually happening before our eyes is just really something else. And then soon, it's going to be a major hurricane.
You almost see a pinhole eye starting. And, you know, once that happens, the storm has cleared that out. That gives it an opportunity to build that concentric eye wall and then start the eye wall replacement cycles, which will allow it to get to major status.
The NOAA hurricane hunters are flying towards the storm right now. They're not necessarily in it. It's going to take some time for them to get there, but they will help us get the latest information and really get that fed into our data and our models, which would help us get better data. But let's at least get you the 5 o'clock advisory with the new track. We also got tropical advisories. We now have tropical storm watches in effect for parts of the Big Bend area down to southwest Florida, and we have hurricane watches in effect for the Tampa area from Levy County all the way down to Tampa, Sarasota, even parts of Fort Myers. Here locally for Central Florida, the only advisories we have at the moment are for Sumter County and Polk County. Those are hurricane watches. Nothing yet, but we will eventually get there, especially as time goes on. So here's that 5 o'clock track for the National Hurricane Center. Again, Category 2 hurricane with winds of 100 miles per hour will become a Cat 3 later on today, and then early tomorrow morning, a Category 4 hurricane as it undergoes that rapid intensification. Peak winds with this storm will be about 145 miles per hour. That is actually on the Gulf of Mexico. Now, once it gets closer to land, it weakens slightly with winds of about 125 miles per hour, but the impacts, the storm surge, the rain, the wind, basically all going to be the same. Now, comparing the previous tracks from the National Hurricane Center, they're starting to shift a little bit more towards the north, which is in guidance with some of our latest models and even our in-house model showing that as well. We put that model on with the track and favoring really just a direct center through the National Hurricane Center track. Now, of course, they're still going to go with a margin of error of about 100 miles or so, but do know regardless of whether it moves north or south, we're looking at high impacts for the Florida Gulf Coast, especially storm surge, where our waves begin to pick up tomorrow and then really begin to increase on Wednesday. Overall, for the Tampa area, Levy County, all the way down to Fort Myers, we're looking at storm surge of around 8 to 12 feet. That number to likely go up as we get more information in from the National Hurricane Center and all of our data. But we are talking about, Eric, life-threatening storm surge for the Gulf Coast.
Very, very big concern for them. But in terms of our outlook, let's take it kind of in a different way. We're going to try and show this in a time period way. So this is Tuesday evening. The rains are going to already obviously be a thing. But Wednesday morning is when we'll start to look for some tropical storm force gusts. More Wednesday afternoon, evening that we get into the true severe elements, right? The 80+ mile per hour gusts and the isolated risk here for tornadoes. So it really is going to be second half of the day Wednesday that the real threats kick up in Central Florida. All right, so start making those adjustments. Today we're fine. Even tomorrow, for the most part, we're fine. But just to give you an idea. Now, going back in time, thought this was really interesting. There are 2 storms that started in the southwest Gulf of Mexico and moved toward Florida. Both hit Florida during October, and both hit in the 1800s. So if this seems very, very odd, the reality is it is. It's been well over 100 years since any type of a storm with this intensity and this kind of trajectory has moved in. So here we are, right? Now, in terms of local impacts, watch how, and these are not West Coast seas, these are East Coast seas. Watch how the seas really pick up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with offshore seas running 10, 15 feet or so, and breakers running 7 to 14 feet. So obviously, we're going to be dealing with beach erosion, and then there's that storm surge concern, as Kellyanne had mentioned. Outside this morning to Varies, it is cloudy and wet. Looking at our first warning Doppler radar, a ribbon of heavier rain here just north of Tavares, kind of right over the Ocala National Forest down into Lake County. Scattered showers through Seminole County, though another ribbon of heavier stuff is working on in. Bus stop forecast, essentially just showing showers through the day. That's the forecast today, all right? Clouds and showers. 12-hour forecast showing varying percentages of coverage, but essentially, like yesterday, it's going to be cloudy and it's going to be wet today and tomorrow. And today and tomorrow is when we need to be working through that prep, bringing in the loose articles on our home. Of course, doing what we need to do to have the food and water at your house. The idea is, because we're looking at a hurricane hitting our area Wednesday into Thursday, you want to make sure that if the power goes out, if you're not able to leave your house for a little while, you've got all the supplies you need, right? So food, water. It doesn't have to be fancy water. You can literally fill cups up and just kind of decorate your countertop if you need to. But we need to just be self-sufficient for a couple of days. And then afterward, the couple of days afterward, thankfully, humidity drops, temperatures come down just a little bit, but we are going to have a pretty rough go at it by midweek. Much more as Kellyanne and I dig through the data coming up in just a couple minutes.
All right, and we're watching your forecast very closely. Now to your first warning traffic. We are seeing travel times looking good on this Monday morning. Eastbound I-4 is up to speed. We had an earlier crash on the westbound side, or the on-ramp from Maitland Boulevard onto I-4. That's cleared. We also had earlier trouble in Volusia County on 95. It's clear. We're looking good as you see a view of downtown Orlando on this Monday morning. Traffic volume is here at 522 starting to pick up this morning. Okay, one thing that's a very good reminder for all of us is not to let that calm before any storm catch us off guard.
Yeah, we're closely monitoring Hurricane Milton as it heads towards Florida. We'll be checking in once again with our team of meteorologists, helping you get prepared for what's to come.
Closed captioning is sponsored by the Flooring Center.
Fighting to find a cure for every child is the goal for one local charity.
Yeah, Kids Beating Cancer held their annual Hats and Heroes Ball. Look at this. The organization is going to use all the money raised at this gala for treatments to find a cure. Recognize those folks? Mayor and I got all fancy and emceed the event Saturday night at the Waldorf Astoria, Orlando. A huge crowd there helped the event bring in more than $2.6 million. A record for Kids Beating Cancer.
Just incredible. And the kids were amazing. The heroes that we got to meet, and the entertainment was also electric, Jason.
Yeah,
So
I mean, we
great
had
night.
performers from Broadway. The original cast of Jersey Boys performed. If you get a chance next year to go to the Hats and Heroes Ball, do it. Don't miss out. And thanks to everybody who gave. Okay, let's turn our attention to Hurricane Milton. It's continuing to strengthen by the hour.
It is now a powerful Category 2 hurricane and expected to get even stronger. We'll be checking in with our crews throughout Central Florida as everyone gets prepared. That's coming up next on Sunrise.
Local, live, late breaking. WESH 2 News Sunrise starts now.
Fire Floridians to finalize your storm preparations now. Enact your plan.
It's going to have wind, it can kill you. It's going to have water, it can kill you. So I hope everybody right now starts thinking about what in the living daylights are you going to do?
This one back to back with Helene, and because it's going to come right over top of us, it's a little scary.
Now at 5:30, we are bracing for Hurricane Milton as it continues to strengthen in the Gulf of Mexico on a path for Florida. Thank you for starting your Monday morning with the Sunrise team. I'm Meredith McDonough.
And I'm Jason Guy. We are getting you ready for this hurricane this morning, and we're going to bring in our first warning weather team. We have team coverage here with Kellyanne Klass and Eric Burson. We got that 5 a.m. advisory about a half an hour ago. There was a lot to go through as far as the data. Anything significant that you're noticing about this, other than it's a Cat 2 storm now?
Yeah, I mean, it's strengthening as it's forecasted to. In terms of the track, not really much. The center has shifted north a little bit, but the impacts overall are still the same.
This advisory added watches to Florida. So the Gulf Coast, which is now snuck into Polk County and Sumter County, are under hurricane watches. Watches mean that hurricane conditions are possible within 48 hours. That would then mean that we would start seeing warnings issued by about 5 p.m. tonight.
Yeah, so just know that while Orlando, the metro, and areas east are not in any advisory yet, that will likely change as we go throughout the day today. Let's get you a look at the latest advisory. Winds of 100 miles per hour, so it's Category 2 hurricane still in the southwest Gulf, but it is expected to move east and then lift north, and as it lifts north, it's going to strengthen to a Cat 4 hurricane with winds of 145 miles per hour. Now, the forecast is for it to slightly weaken before landfall, but the impacts overall are still going to be the same. Wind along with storm surge. The biggest concern for the Gulf Coast, not necessarily storm surge for inland spots, but wind will be the biggest concern. Here's a look at those advisories. We have tropical storm watches in effect for parts of the Big Bend area down to southwest Florida. Then from Fort Myers all the way up to Levy County, we have hurricane watches in effect, and that includes Sumter and Polk counties. Again, nothing yet from Lake, Marion, and East, but that will change as we go throughout the day today. What you need to know today, you need to finish your preps. Tuesday, make those last minute preps. Then starting Wednesday afternoon, the storm will begin to approach the Gulf Coast. From there, move across the peninsula. And then by Thursday, the storm departs. So it's a quick moving system. But Eric, we're going to see a lot of wind from this.
Right. So let's take you county by county, and we're going to go through these kind of one by one by one. If we don't mention your community now, we'll get there. OK, let's start in Lake County, Sumter County, kind of the same idea. Winds running 50, 60, 70 miles per hour with gusts running upwards of 80 miles an hour. And then there's the flooding concern, right? 5, 6, 7, 8 inches, locally higher amounts. For Seminole County, worst of the weather for you Wednesday night through Thursday early, 45, 55, 65 mile per hour winds and gusts well into hurricane force anticipated. Then there's the severe component, the tornadoes, that sort of thing. For Flagler County, even along the shoreline, may have some wraparound winds depending on exact trajectory, so storm surge may be a concern right at the beaches, but we're talking about gusts into hurricane force for you as well. So this morning, it's cloudy, it's damp. This is not a hurricane. We're good to go to work. We're good to go to school. Just understand that it is damp outside. Our first warning live Doppler radar tracking plenty of rain, and we see some areas of heavier stuff, kind of Marion, Lake County with heavier rain, southern Volusia working into Seminole County as well. So cloudy skies, wet roads. It's going to be kind of an inclement weather day. It's just not going to be beautiful. But today, after work and school, let's make sure to get our hurricane kits finalized at home. Do anything you need to bring the loose articles in, because come Wednesday into Thursday, we're talking about hurricane conditions for a good part of Central Florida. Kellyanne and I are going to continue looking through the brand new data that just came in, and we're going to work hard to help make sure you understand what this storm system means for you and your family. We'll see you in a bit.
All right, Eric. And quickly, we're getting to your first warning traffic, taking a look at the travel times here on I-4 westbound. Everything's still in the green. We'll be watching for some of those slowdowns that we see on the eastbound side as drivers are coming from Osceola County into Orange County. That's just normal congestion that we see around Champions Gate. We're not spotting that right now, and earlier crashes have all cleared. Things are looking good for your morning drive here at 534.
Okay, as Kellyanne and Eric just mentioned, Hurricane Milton will make landfall sometime on Wednesday.
And that means now, right now is the time to get your home ready for the storm while we have about 2 days to prepare. WESH 2's Bob Hazen is live at the Walmart Neighborhood Market on Lee Road. And Bob, experts say we need to be making those final preparations today.
And for a lot of people, that'll mean getting gas for your car or for a generator, but also getting supplies, places at Walmart or Target or Publix, getting that food and all those supplies, enough that it will last you for a week if your house does lose power. We also have a lot of information for you on the WESH 2 News app. You can download that, and we have a lot of material there for you. That includes the latest track of where this storm is going and what the impacts will be in your county and where you live. We also have a link for what should be in a hurricane kit. Now, the link there has a list of the most important things you need to have on hand. They include, of course, bottled water, canned food and soup, a can opener, a first aid kit, 2 weeks worth of your prescriptions, formula and diapers if you have a baby, flashlights and batteries, and a weather radio. We also have this year's hurricane survival guide there on the app with more ideas for what you should have on hand. And one idea, if you can't find bottled water, if all the stores have already been cleared out of that, you can just take, of course, an old jug or other bottles, fill those up right out of your tap. And again, experts say you need to try to have at least a week's worth of material on hand in case you do lose power or if the stores aren't able to reopen. Reporting live in Orange County, Bob Hazen, WESH 2 News.
All right, Bob, and Milton is coming in on the western coast of Florida. That means Lake County could get hit hard. The county opened 7 sandbag sites as of yesterday morning, and that's making sure residents can prepare. Andrew Posada told us this is the last of hurricane prep he needed to do, and he hopes that others are ready.
We live on an island, Deer Island, and we don't know what the water is going to be like on the lake, so I want to make sure we have enough preparedness going on, make sure we don't have any issues with water getting into our house.
Emergency Management Director there, Megan Melanie, says that it's been a busy month with 2 hurricanes, and people seem to heed these warnings.
I mean, we've been asking folks to get ready throughout the season. We started that as soon as the season started, and I think that folks have kind of taken that in mind, and they prepared for Debbie, they prepared for Helene, and now they got to get prepared again for Milton.
The county's also telling people that there is a special needs registry, so check in, make sure that the officials there are aware of what's coming and finalizing plans.
People in Seminole County are also preparing for Hurricane Milton. The line of cars here proves it as people waited for the Central Winds Park in Winter Springs to open yesterday for sandbags. Across the county, there are many sandbag sites. The county's Emergency Operations Center is open as well and activated to a level 2 as of yesterday morning. Emergency Manager Alan Harris says that they're making preparations to open shelters as well.
We need to be prepared here in our county to not only shelter evacuees for our county, but also to host those that are coming from the coast.
And Harris says also in Seminole County, they're prepared for severe power outages, communication issues, and flooding that could occur. Polk County officials are activating their emergency operations center ahead of Hurricane Milton. 19 shelters will be open across the county starting tomorrow. Sandbag locations opened on Saturday and will remain open through 5:30 tonight. The locations are right there on your screen and scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Now, each household can get up to 10 bags. You must show proof of residency.
Florida Senator Rick Scott is urging all of us to take precautions ahead of Hurricane Milton. And the senator spoke yesterday in Hillsborough County. He wants people to take this storm very seriously, and he's asking people to protect themselves.
It's going to have wind, it can kill you. It's going to have water, it can kill you. So I hope everybody right now starts thinking about what in the living daylights are you going to do. Nobody up here can save your life if you put yourself in harm's way.
Meanwhile, mandatory evacuations are expected to begin today in parts of the Tampa Bay area. Residents are still reeling from Hurricane Helene that tore through less than 2 weeks ago. The aftermath is still visible in neighborhoods and communities. And look at this. Our crews saw furniture, mattresses, and other household items there just piled up on streets. Crews are working to clear as much of that debris as possible before the arrival of Milton.
In Hillsborough County, crews are working to prepare the Howard Franklin Bridge ahead of Milton. Now, they've been chaining barges together and then securely anchoring them to the sea floor. Officials say Barge Island is almost done, and once fully complete, there will be 24 cranes and 72 barges. Rosen hotels and resorts are lowering prices so people who need to evacuate have somewhere to go. Rates at some hotels go for about $70 per night. We have listed them right here on your screen. Rosen Hotels does not charge an additional pet fee during hurricanes. As of right now, all of Central Florida's theme parks and amusement parks remain open. This includes Universal Orlando, Walt Disney World, and also SeaWorld. Theme parks say that they're monitoring the storm and will continue operating under normal hours. We'll let you know if that changes.
And of course, we're bringing you the latest on Hurricane Milton all morning long right here on WESH 2 News Sunrise with our team.
Yeah, meteorologist Kellyanne Class is here now. So Kellyanne, just take us through the path and really when we can expect arrival.
Yeah, so worst of the weather really is going to arrive on Wednesday, mostly during the late afternoon, early evening hours for Central Florida. At least taking through the path right now, it is expected to strengthen to a Category 4 hurricane by Tuesday into Wednesday with winds of 145 miles per hour, weakening to a Cat 3 upon landfall on Wednesday evening. But regardless, we're still looking at very high impacts for the Gulf Coast, even some impacts here for Central Florida. So tropical storm watches posted for parts of the Big Bend from Levy County down to Fort Myers. We have a hurricane watch, and then south of Fort Myers, including the Keys, we have a tropical storm watch. Some of these locations include Sumter and Polk counties for the hurricane watches. We also have storm surge watches in effect for parts of the Gulf Coast, where some locations could receive 8 to 12 feet of storm surge. So we're looking at a lot of storm surge there. Here locally this morning, we have showers. So as you get the kids ready for school, get ready for work, have that umbrella, have that rain jacket with you. Going into the afternoon, we'll see our rain chances especially increase, but then going into the late afternoon, early evening, decreasing. We have an impact today for just the potential of some localized flooding, nothing quite significant, but it's just going to be a soggy day that's going to impact your morning, afternoon, and evening commute. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll talk a little bit more about Milton and what we can expect here in Central Florida.
Hurricane Milton is causing some delays in space. We'll take a look at the missions on hold because of the storm.
Plus, 1 year into the Israel-Hamas war, we're taking a look back at what led to escalating violence in the Middle East with still no end in sight.
This is Tony. He's your chief meteorologist and Central Florida's most accurate.
No matter the forecast, I'm always watching your weather.
From sunny skies to stormy afternoons, trust Chief Meteorologist Tony Manalfi and WESH 2 First Warning Weather. You're watching WESH 2.
This morning, we're continuing to track Hurricane Milton as it strengthens in the Gulf of Mexico. It is now a Category 2 hurricane. We have our team working around the clock. We're going to give you a full update in just a few minutes here on WESH 2 News Sunrise. Today marks 1 year since Hamas invaded Israel, killing more than 1,000 civilians and taking hundreds of hostages.
The resulting war has killed thousands of innocent people caught in the crossfire in several countries. The U.S. has been deeply involved in bringing an end to this war, but it appears to be spiraling with Palestinian and Israeli militants trading more rocket fire overnight. Israel remaining determined to root out Hamas while countering other Iran-backed groups, including Hezbollah in Lebanon, Houthi rebels in Yemen, and direct airstrikes from Iran.
The war in Gaza could end tomorrow if Hamas surrenders, disarms, and returns all the hostages.
President Biden says that he and U.S. counterparts have been trying to reach a ceasefire deal, but recently said he was not sure if Israel's prime minister was holding off in order to influence the U.S. general election.
Back to Hurricane Milton. It's forcing NASA and SpaceX to cancel the Europa Clipper launch on Thursday. The spacecraft has been moved back into a hangar there at Kennedy Space Center until this storm passes. No word on when the rocket might blast off. When it does, it will study the icy surface of Jupiter's moon. As of right now, NASA and SpaceX are targeting no earlier than 3:05 Thursday morning for the undocking of the Crew 8 mission from the International Space Station. They were originally set to leave tomorrow, but Hurricane Milton pushed that back a few days. Mission managers will continue to monitor weather conditions right here in Florida. They're set to have another briefing tomorrow morning. Crew 8 has been in space since March.
Despite the wet weather, SpaceX is moving forward with today's Falcon 9 rocket launch. It's set to send up the Hera mission, which will study the impact of NASA's Double Asteroid Redirection Test, or DART, mission that launched back in November of 2021. Liftoff is set for this morning at 10:52 from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station.
All right, back to the track of Milton. We've got a Category 2 hurricane on our hands.
Meteorologist Kellyanne Class and Eric Burris here now. So guys, the big thing for our viewers, now's the time to get ready. No hype here. Stay with us. We want to keep everyone safe, get through the storm together. And really Wednesday, we'll be seeing the major impacts.
It's really going to be Wednesday afternoon, especially during the evening hours as we start to get this thing getting towards landfall Wednesday night in the Tampa area. Still some shifts, though, in the models.
I hope that our tone really explains the idea, because this is not hype, but this does look increasingly likely that we're going to have hurricane conditions across our area, and thus it's not hype, it's just factuality, right?
Yeah, and the fact is we're going to be dealing with some power outages across the peninsula, right? So just have items that you need to have just in case we do lose power, or just in case you do lose power. What you need to know right now is we are under advisories for Central Florida. It only, though, includes Sumter County and Polk County at the moment as a hurricane watch that stretches back towards Tampa all the way down to the Fort Myers area. South of Fort Myers to the Keys, and in the Big Bend area, we have tropical storm watches in effect. So we do want to remind you, a watch means that conditions are possible within 48 hours. Warnings would then get issued within the 36-hour time frame. That's when conditions will be expected. So Orlando, Marion County, and then Osceola County, all of those areas plus our eastern spots are not included in advisory yet, but that will likely change as we go throughout the day today. Again, it's going to rapidly intensify to a major hurricane, making landfall as a major hurricane Wednesday night, moving through central Florida very early in the morning on Thursday as a Category 1 hurricane with winds of 85 miles per hour. Strongest winds going to be from Tampa down to Fort Myers, where they're going to be dealing with 110 plus mile per hour winds. And then the farther inland you get, the lower the wind speeds are, but still going to be pretty strong across central Florida. 60 to 73 mile per hour winds with some pockets of 74 to 110 mile per hour winds. That's going to encompass most of central Florida. So power outages are looking likely across the chunk of central Florida, widespread from parts of Tampa into Polk County and Sumter County as well. So when does the worst of the weather arrive? Well, for a broader spectrum from the Tampa area and the parts of southwestern Polk County, we're looking at Wednesday afternoon for a chunk of central Florida from Marion County diagonally down all the way to Osceola and southwest Brevard County. That's going to be Wednesday early in the evening. And then from northeastern Marion County, northeastern Lake County, Seminole, eastern Orange County, and along I-95, we're looking at Wednesday late in the evening for the worst of the weather to arrive. But the biggest question, Eric, a lot of people have been asking is, should we evacuate?
And you know, the one answer I always try to offer is if you are genuinely worried, then maybe go across town to a relative or to a friend's house. But for basically all of central Florida, the answer really is no. The evacuation orders will go in later for the west coast, depending on exact location. So in red, yeah, there's going to be some evacuations out west. For most of us, minus, modular homes, tiny homes, mobile homes, that sort of thing, most of us were going to be fine. There may be some possibly along the east coast, depending on trajectories, angle of impact, that sort of thing. But for just about all of us, the overall idea, if you're in a safe place, the way to think of it is run from water, hide from wind. And wind is going to be our biggest concern, okay? The storm surge, we don't live along the Gulf of Mexico, so that's not a big concern. All right, so here in the Marion County area, worst of the weather Wednesday late into early Thursday, 50, 60, 70 mile per hour sustained winds with gusts over 80, we're thinking. All right, let's head inland just a little bit. Orange County in the Orlando metro area, gusts over 75, but sustained, as Kellyanne had mentioned, 45, 55, 65 miles per hour. For Volusia County, we're thinking 45, 55, 65 with higher gusts and 4 to 6 or 7 inches of rain. So we're talking about half a foot of rain the next couple of days. It's been raining. It will continue to rain. Here's a live look outside on our Tower Cam network. That's Disney Springs in the tourist district. Bus stop forecast, morning ride, afternoon ride, both including rain. So umbrella's not a bad idea to have. The first piece of energy is sitting just off of Florida's southwest coast, and it's been bringing all of this rainfall. We're already under flood watches. Then as this piece works through, the second piece of energy moves in. That's Hurricane Milton. Of course, that's where we get into the truly dangerous weather midweek, okay? So for today, we're calling it an impact day, not for severity, but rather just a high coverage. We're going to be into a kind of a crummy day, but it'll be breezy, but not too bad. So as we've been saying for a while now, today's the day that we're really wanting to wrap up our hurricane prep. So loose items around the house, bring them in, that sort of thing. Double check, top off your hurricane kit so that you have enough food and water just to last a couple of days. That way, when Hurricane Milton moves through midweek, we have some real rough weather. We're kind of staying inside. Then afterward, if you can't get outside for whatever reason, you're good to go. That's why we have you do your hurricane kit. But there's some silver lining to this, and I'm always going to look for that, okay? A little subtle taste of fall afterward. Humidity drops, highs in the low to mid 80s, and morning lows in the 60s. It may not be much, but it's something to look forward to after this hurricane moves through.
We'll take it, Eric. Thank you. Now to your first warning traffic as we look at those road conditions. The only trouble spot here, eastbound I-4 between US 27 and the 528. So if you're driving from Osceola County into Orange County, you're going to see some slowdowns. Stay with us. You're watching WESH 2 News Sunrise. We're coming right back.
First warning weather on WESH 2 is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan. Dial pound law on your cell phone.
This morning, we're tracking Hurricane Milton as it continues to strengthen out in the Gulf of Mexico. Right now, this is a Category 2 hurricane. Our team of meteorologists are going to bring you a full update on the storm's path ahead at 6 a.m. When a weekend features just one big new movie, it's usually not a matter of whether that's going to top the box office, but just how much it's going to make.
Okay, so that certainly was the case this weekend. Beetlejuice fell one spot to third place, scaring up $10.3 million for a domestic total of $265.5 million.
The Wild Robot lost the top spot, but stayed strong in second with another $18.7 million.
The Joker sequel easily debuted at #1, but the supervillain sequel opened with just $40 million, less than half of the 2019 original debut. It is 5:56 and time is running out to register to vote in next month's election, where Central Floridians can get signed up today.
And we want to check in with meteorologist Kellyanne Klask.
And the latest on Milton right now, winds of 100 miles per hour. This continues to strengthen throughout the day. We'll talk about that and where its projected path is at 6.
Now is the time for you to grab your smartphone or tablet and download our free WESH 2 News mobile app. Make sure you turn on notifications so we can update you to any changing weather conditions.
Closed captioning is sponsored by Advent Health.